So before we jump into the details, my name is Rachel. I am a software engineering manager here at Yelp. I manage the internationalization team, which I think is a team or topic that's pretty relevant to this crowd, which is in the travel space. I started working at Yelp as a backend engineer, and right before that, I graduated from University of Waterloo, which is in Canada. And, Waterloo, yes, Canadians. All right, and for some of you know that Waterloo is really big on, getting your hands on in the internship for engineering programs. So while I was at Waterloo, I kind of did a lot of assortment of internships. I was working on a website for a regional government, and then I worked on browser for BlackBerry, which was more relevant back then. I worked on the Amazon shopping app, and also I was a product manager for the Visual Studio at Microsoft, and then I made my way to the Bay Area. Cool. Does any of you wonder what the hell is INTN in my title? Anyone? Yes, a little bit, but you made a connection, yes. So INTN really is just a lazy way of spelling internationalization. This word is just too long for anyone to spell it sanely every day, so we shorten it to internationalization. And we care about internationalization because for people like us who care about this travel space, really we want to take our users beyond just the US market. We want to care about user base, all over the world. So this is why I'm talking about internationalization today. So a little overview of the talk. Maybe some part is more relevant in the software industry than others, but I think a lot of the lessons, the takeaways, can be applied to all industry in general when it comes to taking a product to a global market. So first, I want to explain a little bit of what we do at Yelp. Internationalization can mean very different things based on the industry and company you're in. So we'll talk a little bit about what we do. Then we'll talk about how do you actually set a foundation of internationalize a product. Then I'll show you this playbook that we follow when we take our product, any product feature, internationally, actually. All right. So Yelp's mission, hopefully you all know what Yelp is. You're in this building. If you don't, can't help you. So on the highest level, our mission is to connect people with great local businesses. And I would say for my team, the INTN team, our mission is to connect people with great local businesses wherever they are, beyond just the US primary market. Right, so the team. Like I said, every INTN team in different companies is different. Here, we wear onesies on a regular day. Just kidding. This is a Halloween photo that we were like being goofy. All right. So, but, there are really majorly there are three things that we do. First is we work on the localization framework. We build the foundation so that other developers, when they write features, they can use this framework to easily make their features available to another market. And second is we want to keep the user experience of Yelp local in another market. So say like, when you're in Japan, the behavior and user habit of browsing a website is actually very different. So we need to tweak our product to make it feel local for the local audience as well. And then third is one of the most important mission we have is to take it globally. Take it from, back in 2007, 2006, we were a small little site in the US, and now we're in 32 countries, and we want to continue our journey to go to conquer the world, is my mission statement. How do we get there? So the first step, really, the ground square one is building the foundation. Without having your product localized or translated to a language for another country, you cannot take it globally. So you need to build your infrastructure to actually localize your product. So there are a few different options in the industry. One is you pick a vendor and they have this entire workflow ready for you. You tell them what strings, what things need to be localized, and they will do it for you. This option is really good for, kind of like a Microsoft product. If you think about Office, the release is not that frequent, and it's not definitely not released on a daily basis, and they have a lot of money to pay a really good vendor to localize something for them. So, big companies are good use for vendor. And then another option is to do it in-house. You kind of build your infrastructure, your localization framework, with your developers, and then you have in-house translators to translate these strings for you. This is a model that we use here at Yelp, and Airbnb, as you know, also uses this model. The benefit of this model is really you can control the consistency and the tone of the translation. Because for us, we are very, very user... Oh, I guess I'm using it. Oh, all right. Can you guys hear me now? Yes, people at the back? All right. I'm not going to start from the beginning, but hopefully you can hear me fine now. All right. So yeah, we're talking about the in-house solution here we use. The benefit is you have more control over how you translate the string. For user-facing features, the tone, the value proposition, how we want to present ourselves. Are we like lively person? Are we like very serious business kind of person? It's all in the translation. It's not really translation, but it's more like copywriting. So with the in-house translator team, you can control this tone better. But of course, it comes with a maintenance cost. You need to keep hiring translators as you go into another country. You need to have your developers invest in building this infrastructure, and the maintenance cost is actually pretty big, as I know it, pretty dearly. So what we do with translators is actually once a product is launched in the market, the translation work is no longer that heavy, even though it's still daily, there is new strings need to be translated. So we actually keep them as also international user ops. They help us to audit our content contributed by international user. They will know, what kind of content is spammy versus what are not. They will know the business that are added by users to Yelp, are they actually a valid business or not? So they do another job on top of translation. And the third option is crowdsource. So Facebook and Twitter actually opens up their translation framework and for users, I know that you speak another language. You can correct our string for us. You can submit a translation. So they rely on this community to contribute the continuous translation workflow. So this model really can only be applicable if you have a super active community in your hand. Otherwise, you just don't get enough volume to actually make any difference. All right. So we examine the different options and assume that we picked one that's suitable for whatever product you're building. And now it's playtime. This is, I know it's a little corny. This is the INTN playbook. So this is actually a model that we follow pretty religiously for a lot of our country launches. And it goes like, well, first you have to launch in that market. It goes without saying. But before I launched my first country, I thought it was really easy. I thought, we have this product that's fully functional in English in US. We just need to do the translations. We just need to buy another domain, and we toggle some sort of switch and make it happen. I was being really, really naive. It actually takes, 2 developers around 2 to 3 months for every single country launch we do, even having a really well-developed configuration in place. So some of the challenges, I don't want to bore you too much with all the challenges we have to face, but some of the challenges is, first, we need to make the search work in another language, and it's not trivia. We use Elasticsearch and Lucene to build our search algorithm layout, but for every language, you actually need to tweak the tokenization, the recommendations algorithm to make it work in another language. And then second, date time format is different. As I learned a hard lesson from renewing my UK work visa, that I read the order of month and date wrong, and it was expired when I thought it didn't expire. I learned a hard lesson there. We don't want our users who are, relying on Yelp to check the business open time or event open time to get this sort of experience. So we leverage this open source project or package called Babel. It's a Python-based package to take care of the date-time parsing and also formatting for us. And another important thing is business data. Yelp will be completely useless if we just don't have any data, right? So data quality is really, really crucial to us. We usually use various providers to give us data, and we develop our in-house data ingestion pipeline to actually process and clean up and deduplicate these data from business provider. It roughly look like this, but we won't go into detail and talk about this. But as a result of that, actually our business data's quality got so good that now we are a data provider ourselves. We actually partner with apps like Twitter or Citymapper. We provide our business data for their check-in or for their direction. So and you can also get this sort of data through Open API. And Tomer there actually is the expert on our Open API. If you have questions about that, you can ask him. And so now we have a product in that market. In the beginning, for our first few countries, this is kind of our efforts stopped there. We thought, we have this product available there and we just let it grow. But it doesn't work. It doesn't work that way. If you don't put effort into growth, they won't grow organically. It did here in the US for various reasons. It's probably because the market at that time was not as competitive. We were in a unique space at that time, but it doesn't happen naturally. So there are two ways we grow our product internationally. One is still more organic. On the ground, we actually, as we launch in the market, we put community managers on the ground to engage users, to attract a bunch of core users to contribute to our product. So they will make the product quality a lot better, and then in turn, that will attract other users to join this community. And then they have help from marketing and PR and branding to help them kind of engage users, but it's still a more organic way of growing. But engineers, we also have a job in this growth. We want to, like all other software companies or web-based companies, we care about SEO, which to a lot of people is really black magic, search engine optimization, how you rank in, how high you rank in Google. We have a traffic team here who are just like in charge of doing tons and tons of traffic sort of experiment. They work with SEO analysts to see, what kind of metadata we put can provide a best ranking result and so on. And we also care about app pitch to help us move away from this dependency on search engine like Google. We want users to download our app and then discover business from our app instead of going from a search engine and then land to our web page. So we want to pitch the user as saying, okay, you can get this information in fuller details by downloading our app. So we put a lot of effort on what is the most effective way to actually pitch users to download our app. And then thirdly, we want to going back to the user experience. For users in different markets, we want to provide a different onboarding experience that is more relevant to them. So this is an experiment we ran for German users. We put a Presso there and then be like, oh hey, like this is a great place that you can discover all sorts of local business in the context that's more relevant to the international market. So that's the growth phase. Now, we have launched and we have growth, and now we want to do some actual UX improvement for different market. And this part is complicated because a lot of these information you don't get before you launch, or you don't see the need, or you just don't have the resource to actually build all of these together. So example here is Duck and Waffle is a business in London, and it looks more or less the same as our US business page, except for it has this actual information of public transportation, which this information is not very useful, say, if you're in the Bay Area or in San Francisco, but it is crucial if you're in Berlin or London or any European city, really. So, we define this need and we work with data providers to get this public transportation API, either API or data, and then build that in and make it available in our UI. Another example is, how many of you have been to Japan here? A lot. You see that for business, there are different ways of displaying names. There's a Roma name, Romaji name, so it's more for foreigners, non-Japanese speakers. There's a kanji name, and there's a katakana name, which is more phonetical way of displaying their names. So we want to, in data ingestion phase, we need to actually capture this data and display it for users. Another example, say if you're traveling as English speaker in German, you don't speak German, but you want to read the reviews. We actually provide this feature for you to detect that the review you want to read is in another language. And then we give you this button to say, okay, I just want to translate all of these reviews from German to English. And we leverage third-party translation APIs like Google or Bing, and then get this content translated for you. It's not perfect. It works better for Latin languages than non-Latin languages, but it's better than nothing. So basically, roughly, we have these 3 steps to follow. You want to launch your product, you want to grow, improve, and repeat. We did this for, more than 30 countries, and we're pretty confident with this process we're following. It's pretty efficient. So the takeaways here is really, when you are thinking about building a product, taking a product globally, when you're building for the first non-US country, you want to build an infrastructure, build a configuration that works for more than this one country. But when you're actually launching in there, when you're improving the user experience, you want to go really deep locally and see what kind of experience that users want from that particular market. You don't want to generalize it. And also, it's a marathon, not a sprint. For every market that we have launched, we still have huge backlogs of improvements that we want to do. And we will get to them someday, but it takes a very long time. It's a hard problem, so we're still figuring it out ourselves. All right. And I think that's mostly it. If you have questions about how to get our data or how to use our public API to use some of the business, awesome business data we have, you can talk to Tomer, who's sitting near that neon sign over there. Otherwise, that's it. Thank you for your attention.